All right, it's me. I'm still here at St. Luke's Hospital. It is about 12:35 in the morning, and I told some of you guys I would report back, and so that's basically what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to try and make this as short as I can. I kind of wanted to discuss leading up to my thrombectomy, which you saw yesterday. If you were on my Facebook post, you got to see some pretty graphic photograph of blood clots that they removed out of my leg yesterday. My experience with COVID started on the 16th with just a loss of appetite. I had been to a convention with my grandson, and Saturday, the next day, fatigue kicked in for Cheryl and I both. Cheryl's not a sleeper. We both slept around all day, and I can't tell you, I don't even remember Saturday. We just slept the entire day. The next Sunday, I felt like shit, but I wanted to go back to that convention because there was some stuff I want a few celebrities to sign for my grandson since he couldn't come again and he was out of town. So Cheryl decided to come, so both of us unknowingly went there, both more than likely positive for COVID. The first time we went there, which was Friday with my grandson, I ran into a neighbor, Steve, and coincidentally he showed up with he ended up getting the virus. I've had the symptoms that you're hearing about. I've had loss of smell on some things, specifically Vicks Vapo Rub. I had a day of congestion, so I was going to take a whiff of that and just kind of clear my sinuses. Couldn't smell a thing. So I thought maybe it was old or expired. It was brand new. Stuck my finger in it, tasted it, burnt my tongue, so I knew there was menthol in it. I just couldn't smell it. When I get sick, my favorite go-to food is Bobo's Chinese egg drop soup. It's easy on my stomach. It's got protein, and it's like chicken noodle soup. Cheryl bought me 2 containers of it. The first one I drank or ate tasted like salt water. I mean, it was like someone had poured an entire bottle of salt in it. I knew it was my COVID. I knew I needed protein, so I went ahead and I just swallowed it as quickly as I could. I developed a cough later on, a few days later, productive cough. I was expectorating some pale yellow secretions. Meanwhile, Cheryl was having coughing episodes. She was coughing up gobs of stuff. The next day I developed gastric pain. She did not. So we both having COVID at the same time, having similar symptoms, but different. So I also started, then what got really weird is my cognitive thinking. At some point, I can't tell you when, day 5, day 6, my brain checked out of my fucking head. I could not think. I couldn't put one and one together. And when I say that, the things that pop out in my mind is like when I would go to the bathroom. I know it's kind of gross, but I know that you take fluids in, your kidney processes it, it gets expelled through your bladder, and you pee. Sitting on the toilet, I could not even comprehend anything. Did I have my underwear on correctly? How am I peeing? And then I would get into bed and I'd like, okay, I think I need to drink my Gatorade. I need some fluids. I couldn't correlate, and I would sit there and dwell on it, over and over, and I couldn't correlate. What am I supposed to do? Where does the Gatorade go? I mean, it was just like I had checked out of my fucking body. My brain was just mush. And it was just the whole COVID just wrecking my body. Things got worse. Cheryl and I called 911. They came out. They did an assessment on us at night around 10 o'clock. They basically said, hey, and Cheryl had already tested positive by that point. They said, you got COVID. I was concerned because my oxygen saturations were 84. Typically, I'm 97. Once you start dropping below 90, you're becoming hypoxic. You start becoming confused, which is maybe where that thought press, my cognitive thinking was gone. And they basically said, we'll take you to a hospital, but right now, it's like Bethlehem. There's no room in the inn. Every hospital in town is on deferment. They'll probably see you, maybe run some tests, confirm you're positive, and send you home and wish you the best of luck. So Cheryl and I took upon us to take their advice and we stayed home. And we tried to endure the next few days. Over that next few days, my sats continued to drop. My shortness of breath increased. With any exertion at all, I was huffing and puffing and wheezing. Cheryl was coughing her full head off. I was sitting in the toilet one day, looked up, my door opened up from my closet, and I could see my mirror, and it freaked me out because I couldn't see myself. I saw somebody who was emaciated and to me, looked like they were dying. And I said, that's me. So after I used the bathroom, I got enough strength to pull myself up, and I stood on a scale. And about a week and a half earlier than that, I weighed myself at about 213, 214. That day, I weighed in at 181 pounds. So I dropped, about 25 pounds in a matter of days, a week and a half. So I knew I was sick. I couldn't eat for 6 days, maybe 7. I could not ingest any sort of solid food. I tried toast. I tried all kinds of shit. But I was trying to keep the liquids down. So I was trying to drink water. I was keeping the Gatorade down. Pedialyte, I could not stand. It was just so sugary. There was no way I could drink Pedialyte. So it was Gatorade was keeping me alive, literally. My confusion got worse and worse. I developed a pain in my leg, which felt like a Charlie horse at first. Day 1, I was limping. Day 2, the Charlie horse was my entire thigh. I was really limping, and I was moaning and starting to be in pain. By day 3, my leg was, I hadn't noticed any swelling, hadn't noticed any color change, hadn't noticed any temperature change, which those are obvious signs of a DVT. So I'm back in my head, I'm just thinking maybe I'm dehydrated. When you're dehydrated, your muscles hurt. So I consumed as much fluid as I could, which when you drink fluid, you pee, which meant I had to get up and walk on my bad leg, which I can't tell you how much that hurt. It was like having a amputation while you're awake. And I was writhing in pain, and I think it was Saturday. I think that was the 6th or the 5th. We called 911. I think I texted Cheryl because she'd been sleeping downstairs. I was sleeping upstairs because we couldn't sleep together because we were both miserable. 911 came out. I told him I thought I had a DVT. That raised huge red flags because that's a major thing. I mean, you can die pretty fast from a DVT if you don't catch it early. They took me to my old hospital I've worked at for 20 some odd years, the old Shawnee Mission Medical Center. It's Adventist Health. I'm not going to get into detail with all that, but they dropped the ball. Long story short, there was confrontations, security was called. Basically, they were not giving me any care, zero intervention. They did do a sonogram, ultrasound of my leg. They discovered I had a DVT. Right then is when they should begin a DVT protocol. Heparinize, anticoagulant, get your legs elevated, get a CT, check your lungs for pulmonary embolus. Instead, they said, we're going to write you a script for a pain thinner or an anticoagulant, blood thinner, and we're going to give you pain medication to go home with. Long story even longer, I asked for the pain medicine, At that time, they said, well, we've already discharged you, so we can't give you the pain. I said, well, I want to see the doctor or another doctor. Well, your doctor's gone home. You came in at shift change. None of the other doctors here want to see you. I asked to see charge nurses. They refused to let me see the charge nurse. That's when I became belligerent and angry, and security came over. And long story short, we settled what we had to settle, and I had another argument with the nurse. I said some pretty nasty stuff, including the C word, because she was blatantly lying. Okay, I'm not going to get into the whole that shit. So I had no option but to leave. So I took my prescription. Cheryl got it filled with the Percocet for pain every 6 hours and the blood thinner. I took my blood thinner before I left the hospital. We had to get the Percocet. When I got home, Percocet Q6 wasn't doing a fucking thing. So I was taking a Percocet, waiting about an hour, taking a second one, and then about an hour and a half, 2 hours after that, I was taking more. So about every 4 hours, I was taking about 3 to 4 Percocets, and it wasn't knocking me out. It was just dulling the pain enough to where I didn't have to scream. That's all it did. By morning, I had to go to the bathroom, and it was probably one of the worst days of my life. I could not walk. I was literally grabbing furniture to get into the bathroom so I could urinate and then try and get in bed. And I remember getting back in bed was the worst. It was like a chainsaw going through my leg. And I texted Cheryl, and she came up, and we decided, actually she decided that we needed to get me somewhere and get me help. And we called 911 for the third time. Squad 54, fucking rock and roll out of Olathe. Medic came. They got me out of my top floor using a collapsible chair, got me in a gurney. We asked to go to St. Luke's since we knew they were accepting patients. Once I got here to St. Luke's, it was a whole different thing. They immediately knew what was going on. They began their DVT protocol. I went to CAT scan, and I got a CAT scan with I can't think of it, barium or whatever it is, and we could see that my lungs were COVID lungs or ground glass effect. Respiratory therapists, we always describe lungs as pink balloons. You blow them up, and then they'll collapse on their own, and they're pliable. With COVID lung, it's more like having a plastic bag from Walmart. You blow it up, it doesn't want to collapse. It's crackly sounding. So my lungs were beginning to harden. My leg was in terrible shape. I had 5 inches of swelling in my right leg as opposed to my left leg. So we knew we had a DVT. There was no question about it. I sat in the St. Luke's ER for about 10 or 11 hours until we could get a room. But meanwhile, they were on top of everything. They were very attentive, class 1 healthcare. Never seen anything like it in the 28 years as a respiratory therapist. So I was having symptoms that you've heard about, the loss of taste, loss of smell, confusion. The only symptom I did not have that was very typical, I never had a temperature. So I could have gone to my dentist, I could have gone to Walmart. I went to the Crypticon, and they checked my forehead for a temp. I didn't have a temp, but I had full-on COVID. Didn't know it, but I didn't have a temp. So again, like I said, I was meeting celebrities, Dee Wallace, Michael Biehn from Terminator, Billy Zane, all these people, shaking hands, arms around them, taking pictures, and I'm full-on positive with COVID. So I pray that none of those guys got sick. So long story short, you saw the video. They did an intervention where they pulled the blood clots out of my legs. Even down in intervention radiology, they had me on fentanyl, I think some morphine, and another concoction of medicine to just my brain. I was so high and fucked up. I was answering questions in my own head. I think something I would say the answer out loud, and I knew it, and I would say, "Shut the fuck up, Darren. You're making an ass out of yourself." At the same time, I'm hearing the surgeon over there saying, "Okay, this is going to really hurt because we're going to pull a big clot out." And so I've got all this medicine on board, but I'm still having pain. So at no time during the COVID during the DVT have I been pain free. So today was a wonderful day. A day later, a lot of my pain in the groin was gone. I think by getting up into my femoral and secondary femoral, my iliac vein up in my groin area, the veins are larger, so I think they got those larger clots out. I think they got some clots out in my lower leg, but then you have smaller capillary veins in your calf, and you have your popliteal vein in your foot. So I think they got some of those out. I do know there's still clots existing there, so I'm not out of the woods yet by any means. But today was a good day because I had basically 3 goals for today, because I knew I was going to probably get booted out of here in the next 24 to 48 hours. My first goal was to be able to stand and really walk with or without assistance. Second goal was to get myself into the bathroom and have a trucker-sized shit, because I knew I had to crap. I haven't crapped in days, and before that with COVID, it was just diarrhea. I mean, just water. All right, but St. Luke's knew I was on all these narcotics, so we started stool softeners first, because narcotics will basically plug you up and you can't shit, and it's very painful. So that was my second goal, to get in there and take a crap. And my last goal was to take a hot shower so I didn't smell like an old man sitting in his urine, which is what I was smelling like, because I was having to use a urinal. I couldn't walk. I was giving myself little sponge baths. So today was a wonderful day. It hurt like a motherfucker to walk to the bathroom with assistance. Once I got on the toilet, I had a nice big trucker-sized double semi-load turd. And then the piece de la resistance was the hot shower, where I got to sit in a chair and just let the hot water run over me. I soaked myself up and cleaned every nook and cranny and just sat in that water for 20 minutes. I'm an Aquarius, so I was sucking up the water. It was the best feeling I had had in months. And then I got back into bed. Physical therapy came and saw me today. She gave me lots of great tips, said I was doing everything right, and I told her I'm motivated to get the fuck out of here. I love you guys, but I want to get home. I want to live. I want to walk. I want to get back to life, and I need to get out of here to do that. So PT will work with me again tomorrow. They're going to bring a step in. I'm isolated on a COVID floor, so I can't do physical therapy down in the physical therapy room, and I can't walk up and down the halls. Fortunately, I've got a private room that's rather large, so I've got room to walk and ambulate. So we're going to bring a stair step in, a cane, and a crutch, and get used to using those to get upstairs. Once I get home, again, my life is completely changed. I'm not living in or sleeping in my master bedroom, because that's on the top floor. There's an additional 7 stairs to get to that, and then from that bathroom, from my bed's about 15 steps. And I do not have an ADA toilet, which means my toilet's about 17, 18 inches tall. I can't be flopping down on it. So Cheryl and I made the executive decision that I'm going to stay on the second floor of the house. She went out today, God bless her heart, recovering from COVID herself, symptom-free. I mean, she's not COVID positive, let's say, but she's got cough. I think she's got pneumonia. She went out and bought a brand new mattress, brand new bed, new sheets. So when I come home tomorrow, I'm going to have my own little Airbnb room right next to a bathroom. Down the hall is the kitchen, and then there's the deck. So it makes me self-sufficient, where I can cook my food, I can get up, I can ambulate with a walker, and if I need to get some vitamin D and get out in the sun, I can sit outside on the deck. So for the next 3 months while I'm on this blood thinning medication called Xarelto, which thank God my insurance company is paying 100% for, which normally is about $400 or $500. My neighbor down the street, his wife had a blood clot in her foot. They didn't fare so well, so I know they are paying hundreds of dollars for a similar anticoagulant. So COVID has changed my life and has almost taken my life. And literally, I feel in my mind, without a doubt, I would have either had a huge stroke or I would be dead if I had not came here to St. Luke's when I did. I think I was at the last of the last, and had I tried to man it out and keep taking drugs to cover the mass of pain, I think that clot would have grown and probably went to my lungs, and which is I've had patients die from that. It's a horrible death. I've seen patients have strokes. So these are all running through my mind. So thank God I cannot praise St. Luke's Plaza enough. They did everything to the T, just the way it's supposed to be done, in the order that's supposed to be done. They have been extremely attentive to my care. Everybody from house cleaning to my nurses, the aides, it's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And that gave me the peace of mind that I think I can make it through this. Because a couple days ago, I was not thinking that. And honestly, I've got 6 beautiful grandchildren. I have 3 sons. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got a life. I have a business. I've got wonderful friends. I'm not ready to give that up, and certainly don't want to be an invalid with a stroke. And so I don't talk to God very often, but I did speak to God a couple times, mostly praying for my family because I could handle death. I've seen it. I've been around it for 31 years. I didn't want my family to have to go through that, and my friends. And I can tell you, as a 31 years in healthcare, 28 years of that as a respiratory therapist, I have never seen anything like COVID in my entire life. Nothing like it. And speaking to these nurses here, some of these nurses have only been here out of school for a year. And that's like Vietnam. That's like going from high school at the age of 17 and being dropped in Dang Chau, Vietnam. They're ready for battle. And these people know no different. They went from nursing school to wearing air respirators, gowning up, basically wearing armor, going in with weaponry to fight these viruses, and they're losing the battle, just like Vietnam. Patients are dying left and right. I don't know how many deaths this young nurse that's here tonight has seen. I've seen a lot of them in 31 years, and she's probably seen a good percentage of that just in the 12 months she's been a nurse. You grow attached to some of these patients, and I can recall probably a handful of patients that I got really close to that died, and I had a breakdown where I had to go sit outside the hospital, bawl and weep and get my shit together and go back and deal with the death. But these people are seeing it on a daily basis on a scale that is ridiculous. So I can't have anything but utter respect, and you should too, of any healthcare worker for what they're out there doing. And they're risking their lives doing it. So I told you a little bit about my experience. Let's talk about this vaccine and shit. So there's a lot of miscommunication. I don't watch the news because I learned a long time ago, again, being in the healthcare field, there's nothing but lies on the news. Everybody's looking for the biggest lie so they can sell the biggest news article, and there's just too much bull fucking shit out there. I watched the news today for maybe 5 minutes. Flip through the big main channel, CBS, Fox, all those. They're all talking about COVID. COVID this. He said, she said bullshit is what it was. Nobody knows truly what the fuck is going on. None of the doctors know exactly what's going on. None of the scientists know exactly what's going on. Nobody knows exactly what the vaccine is doing because it reacts differently to different variants of the virus. It acts differently on everybody's body. Some people are having zero symptoms. Some people, like Darren Mortensen, are having near-death DVTs. Okay, so all I can say is my belief is that the vaccine is not going to hurt you. They're not inserting some weird chip into you. It's not a Q conspiracy. It's not big pharma, although, yeah, granted, they're making billions, but coronavirus has been around a long time. We've been studying it. Scientists have been studying it, following it a long time. It's just we come across this COVID-19, we rush to get vaccinations out, and as an RT, that raised red flags for me because I was trained that it takes years of development, studies, trials, and then you finally get a medication. As an RT, I probably have seen a dozen, maybe 24 new medications that would pop up that was supposed to be better than the last. And I always just thought, well, if there's another drug that Big Pharma come out with, yeah, maybe it's a little better, maybe it's not. So I was real wary, and that's why I didn't get the vaccination. And I didn't want Cheryl to get it because she had had some bad reactions to previous flu shots. Since then, after going through this, it's like, what the fuck do I have to lose, right? So I am getting the Pfizer vaccination tomorrow before my discharge. And then I'll get my follow-up, and then it'll be a booster in 6 months. And who knows what's going to happen in 6 months. I think we're variant D plus or something like that now. So things are changing so quickly. Who knows? But all I can say, I'm pleading, get your vaccination, wear your mask, wash your hands. I'm going to put this on pause for just a second. So I'm back. Excuse me, I had to relieve myself. This is gone. This video is about twice as long as I wanted it to be. But I have made, as you can tell, lots of progress. I want you guys to, if I could ask anything, is don't listen to these bans, the mask being lifted, and that the virus has never left. So why they decided to ease up and start, being more relaxed was the dumbest thing that they could do. I knew that, there was nothing else but for a re-explosion of the virus. Because you're letting it loose. You're choking it by hand washing, social distancing, staying away so the virus has limited places to live and go. Then you open up the floodgates saying, oh, you don't need a mask. Yeah, it's okay to go inside, blah, blah, blah. And I was one of those victims. I fell to that. And as an RT, I had red flags going off saying, no, I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be doing this. This is bullshit. But, I went with the group. So I started, not having my alcohol in my pocket. A couple times I left my mask in the truck. So I put my guard down. And Cheryl had her guard down. That's all it takes. So I appreciate everyone that has reported back to me. I've heard horror stories from a lot of my friends on Facebook. One I'll share with you with an RT I used to work with. She had a 25-year-old nurse. 25-year-old niece. And she developed blood clots in her lungs, both lungs, and she died at the age of 25. Another death statistic that I could have been a part of. Fortunately, At this point, like I said, I'm not out of the woods yet. I got 3 more months of coagulant therapy I've got to go. I've got to change my lifestyle at home. Normally, like I said, I would say trust your gut, but there's a lot of dumb motherfuckers out there that don't know how to trust their gut. They're too busy trusting stuff they read, stuff they heard, stuff that are on forums. The point is, there is a virus. It's a killing virus. It's a nasty bitch that wants to live, and it's mutating about as quick as we can find a vaccination. So is your vaccination going to save your life tomorrow? Could. It certainly could. But I'm not promising that, and neither should any doctor, because it changes so quickly. So no excuse not to get the virus unless you have some personal illness or something. But the vaccination is better than nothing until we can continue to find something to kill this nasty bug, because the bug has no desire to do anything but kill you and then move on to someone else and kill them. It's a war, and you have to go to war armed with alcohol and social distancing, mask barriers, and pretty much staying away from as much public as you can until this is eradicated. If not, it's not going anywhere. The virus is not going. It's been around a long time. It's just changing, and as humans, we can't change that fast, where the virus can. So it's got a one up on us. So decide for you. You know, I don't want to die. I've got too much to live for. I got family. I would never want to put them through that. So today was a good day for me. I got to walk. I got to poop. I got a hot shower. Tomorrow I'm going to get discharged. I get to go to a safe place in my home and return to a somewhat normal life. I've got to change my lifestyle. But by golly, I'm leaving with all 4 appendages. And I'm leaving without a stroke, hopefully, and I'm leaving here alive. So that's my story. I don't know what your story is, and I don't know what your story will be, but I would almost assure you, if you do nothing, you're not going to escape this virus. It is going to reach everybody at some point in time. So the vaccination is probably your only hope. And as we develop new vaccines and new boosters, these are the things that are going to protect us. And as unstable as those may be, that's all we got today. That's all we have. You know, we're spending billions of dollars just to inhabit the moon and send a moon rover to the moon. To me, it's like we need to concentrate on the planet Earth, correct the virus, take care of the planet we're on now that we are destroying, and the planet is fighting back. You know, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not a big firm believer in all that shit. I'm just saying that there's something out there that wants to kill you, so fight it back first. Try the vaccination. I hope everybody does well. Please continue to send me your stories. You guys are breaking my heart with the stuff I'm hearing from you guys that have gone through hell. I thought I went through hell, but I'm hearing stories that just make my story looks like shit. So good luck to you. I hope this helps somebody. That's it, man. An RT that has survived it, and I'm trying to do the best I can. And I'm off my soapbox now. Rest of it's up to you. Take it for what it's worth, and rock and roll, and take care.